Hi everyone, I'm a rheologist and I am on a sabbatical. While I'm on sabbatical, I'm going to be talking about rheology in everyday life. And today's topic is calluses and how rheology basically makes them form. And so calluses are not something that you think of as formed by rheology, but they are, because they are formed by stress and strain that you put on your skin. So the classic example of callus on your hands is your writing callus. I'm left-handed, I have a writing callus, it's a permanent one right here. Even though I really don't write a lot anymore, and I do most of my words that are written down by typing, I still have a writing callus right here, and that was developed because my pencil was rubbing against my finger and pushing against my finger for years while I was writing in elementary school and middle school and high school and in college. And so I have a permanent callus right here from that rubbing. So the rubbing causes friction. Your skin doesn't like friction. So what happens is that you get friction against skin, and the layers of your skin, instead of being stacked on top of each other like this, they start separating. And when they separate, there's fluid that can get built up between those layers. And so that's painful. That's when you get blistering. To protect itself, your skin forms some very tough layers, and that's the callus. And so from that rubbing and that pressure, so you have friction and stress from holding a pencil or a pen, your finger builds a tough layer of skin to protect itself where that pencil rests, and so then you have a callus there. Where other places on my hands where I have calluses, so I don't have these so much anymore because I've stopped baking, but when I was baking a lot, I had calluses here, and that's because that's where the spoon would rub. So I had blisters here to start with. And then after just baking for a while, those areas toughened up. I have calluses, you can't really see them, but I do have areas of skin here that are a little bit rougher and thicker than the rest of my hand. When I was little, I had the classic monkey bar calluses, and you could tell if you had monkey bar calluses because you had a line of tough skin along the bottoms of your fingers right there. If you didn't have those and you were a kid and you tried to do monkey bars, your hands will let you know very quickly that that friction, that rubbing against the monkey bar, there's the rheology part, that didn't feel good after a while. And so, okay, on the first day you tough it out, and the next day your hands felt like they were on fire because you had this beautiful line of blisters all down here. Eventually, your hands toughened up, you got those calluses, that protects you against the rubbing, the friction, the pressure of basically your entire body weight hanging off and rubbing on the monkey bars in that particular spot. That lets you move better. So by being hard, the calluses allow themselves to kind of slip past whatever is rubbing against your hand without separating. So your skin's pretty soft, and that rubbing motion moves the skin, but it doesn't move it equally. So the top layer of your skin is going to move more than lower layers of your skin, just because that top layer is closer to what's actually doing the movement. And so if your skin isn't tough and able to hang on, those layers can hang on to each other, they'll start separating, and that forms the blisters like I explained earlier. So what do you do if, okay, you've got some rheology going on that is going to cause some friction and some pressure, but you don't want to build up calluses for whatever reason? Well, I have that case now because I row a couple of times a week, and with a rowing machine you have a bar that you hang onto, you grip and you pull it back, and then you slide forward on a little movable seat, and so it mimics the motion of rowing a boat. But I don't want to have calluses all over my hands, and I certainly don't want to get the monkey bar blisters again, which is basically what this thing is going to give you if you don't protect your hands. So the solution to this, rowing gloves or weightlifting gloves. So these work great if you lift weights or if you row, or if you do anything with your hands that involves rubbing. So what this has here is this very soft pad that goes across where your hand is going to rub on that surface. This pad takes some of the pressure off your hand, so it reduces the stress on your skin. It's soft and fuzzy, so it gives a good grip so your hand doesn't slip too much, especially when it gets sweaty. So your hand's not slipping, but it's also slidey enough that if your hand needs to rotate over something like it does when I'm rowing, because I have to shift my grip back and forth as I'm sliding back and forth, this is sticky enough to let me grip the bar without losing my grip, but at the same time I can still rotate my hand without a lot of pressure on my skin. And so wearing these particular gloves lets me do my rowing without building up a lot of calluses on my hands, so my hands stay uncalloused, but I have enough protection on my hand so that my hands aren't sore at the end of rowing. Have I forgotten my gloves while rowing before? Yes. Did I regret it? Yes. So now, even if I'm at the gym, I'm going to turn around if I forgot my gloves and go all the way back to my apartment, get my gloves, and go back down, because that friction and that pressure, the rheology, is going to do things to my skin that I don't want to happen. So to make sure that I have rheology that I can deal with, I wear those gloves. If not, my body's going to make sure that I deal with it by first having blisters and then building up some calluses. I don't want to wait for the calluses, so I'm going to change how my hands are so that I can deal with the rheology better and I can get my workout done without my hands being sore.